wonderful universe, it's Jennifer here at Eureka Astrology and Healing, and today we are doing video 2 of Yarrow, Achillea millefolium. And as promised, this video is going to be talking about its traditional medicinal uses. And as always, this is for educational purposes only, and if you need medical attention, please seek medical professional. Let's zoom in here. So as you can see, I've got a lot of plants going on right here, and that's something that I like to take note on with Yarrow, is that Yarrow doesn't stand alone as an island. Where I find it is growing through grasses with other plants in prairies, and I'm going to zoom in here so we can get a view here as we are in the middle stage of its growth, although soon it will have its flower stalks coming out. But it doesn't really stay alone. It's a very communal plant, and you might find this growing in your yard and not even know it, mowing it over. And let's think about the medicine here. If we look at the plant and you look closely, look at those leaves, they're glowing. It's a beautiful sunny day, but they kind of look like veins, don't they? And if you think about doctrine of signatures, it is true to form that this plant is used for tonifying veins, strengthening veins, especially peripheral, the smaller capillaries and things like toning them. It's also used for the circulatory system in general. It's also used for colds and flus. And here I'm talking about a tea, doing a hot tea of the leaf and flowers. It actually helps break a fever. It has some antimicrobial properties, and it's a little bitter, but it can be very worthwhile if you are sick and you just can't get that fever to help kill those viruses. That's a great use. And as I said, it's a bitter. So as we've talked about with other plants, bitters help with digestion, and this can support digestion. If you do take it, try to take it in a formula with other balancing herbs. You don't want to take one herb, especially with the herbs that are cooling and drying. This is what Yarrow is by energetic nature, because over time you will cool down your stomach. And we were talking about the circulatory system. Another common use is for supporting healthy menstruation, and it's mostly used for suppressed menstruation. Also, though, excessive bleeding for those who have heavy flows. This is a useful plant, especially using it in a tincture form. And we're going to zoom in over here. I'm going to zoom back out, and we can see another one. There we go. It's not quite so tall, but as you can see, it's not a very large plant. But when it gets going, after a few years, it'll spread and it'll make huge just circles of yarrow. And it's obviously many, many plants. But, on its own, it's small. But like I said, it's a communal plant. And I feel like the energetic of it overall can support community for people who are using it for energetic reasons, right? Sometimes plants' medicines are beyond their constituents and more of their message and their healing. Oh yeah, and the other thing, so I didn't even talk about is topical preparations. It's silly me. So topically, yarrow is great for, again, we said how it kind of is good for excessive blood flow for menstruation. It is true to form topically as well, and that's where it gets its name, is that it was once, and it still is, used for bleeding. So say you were out camping and you had no Band-Aid and you got a really bad cut. People will make spit poultices with the leaves. They'll chew them up and put on there, and it is a really good styptic. It is really good for stopping bleeding, and it has, again, I said, antimicrobial properties, so it will help with that in the meantime before you get to medical attention. And it's just so good for other wounds as well. It's not limited to just a cut. But that's what I think of it, especially because like when you're bleeding heavily and you have nothing to stop it, and you may not have the resources where you're at, it is a great first aid plant. These are just some of the uses of yarrow. It is just a magical, wonderful plant. And in our next video, we will talk about the magical uses and properties. And you'll hear that I'll be interweaving what I talked about in this video and the last video, because plants are dynamic and nothing stands alone. With that, I'm Jennifer at Eureka Astrology and Healing. If you like what I'm doing, hit like, subscribe, leave comments below on your fun stories about yarrow. There's so many that we all have if you are an herbalist, or even just if you have questions or you're curious to learn more about this plant. It grows anywhere where it's, in the northern hemisphere, especially where there's, and it's not so much of a desert plant, but if you got grass growing freely, it's probably growing there. It really loves to spread. Ciao for now.